And you're not alone. Somewhere listening is a college student who grew up teaching her younger brothers and sisters and knows that she has a gift. A young man who took an education class and something just clicked for the first time. There's an artist who wants to spread the joy of creating something out of nothing.
Social Security, SSDI, SSI, and low-income households could see big changes coming to their monthly benefit checks. Democrats and Republicans are becoming worried about the future of Social Security as inflation and the cost of living continues to rise. Negotiations are beginning on whether a monthly benefit increase will be passed this year. So here's some big news, everybody, about the fourth stimulus check. A new bill has officially been proposed in Congress in the proposed legislation, which has around 268 co-sponsors from both parties in the House of Representatives, would actually make Social Security less fair and would jeopardize the retirement security of those who have yet to retire. The proposal would do so by eliminating the windfall elimination provision in the government pension offset rules of Social Security. Without these provisions, Social Security would steer high levels of benefits to people who freely chose to opt out of Social Security. According to the SSA, the proposed law would cost future retirees roughly $700 billion in benefits and would push the exhaustion of funds, trust funds that is, forward by a year to 2033. And supporters of the legislation claim that the rules unfairly reduce Social Security benefits for those who have devoted much of their careers to public services. And now Senate Democrat Kirsten Sinema of Arizona has a message for her Democratic colleagues who fear she might move the goalposts of their economic agenda. Sinema emphasized again that she was opposed to raising taxes on large corporations, saying that she wouldn't back any tax policies that would put a brake on any type of economic growth or forestall business and personal growth for American industries. Sinema also said, "You all know the entire country knows that I'm opposed to raising the corporate minimum tax rate." A Sinema spokesperson clarified she was referring to tax rates on corporations, and not backtracking from her past support of a 15% corporate minimum tax. Folks, tell me in the comments down below, do you think that President Biden is going to send out the fourth stimulus check this year, or do you think he will hold it back? Tell me what you think in the comments. Now, Sinema's comments comes days after she expressed fresh openness towards a smaller spending package. It also seems to be an effort to put some distance between her and Joe Manchin of West Virginia, another Democratic holdout. The Democratic Party cannot pass the bill in the 50-50 Senate without their 2 votes against unified Republican opposition. Joe Manchin's top priorities for any new piece of legislation include reining in prescription costs, slashing the federal deficit, and raising taxes on America's richest people. Now, the Arizona Democrats set herself apart in the fall by keeping her cards close in negotiations and not publicly staking out her positions. But this has caused plenty of headaches for congressional Democrats, trying to figure out what she was willing to vote for. According to CNN, with more than just 200 days left until the 2022 election, now the first 2 stimulus checks have come and gone, but the third economic impact payment worth up to $1,400 per person is still up for grabs, even if you haven't received it yet. Most of the payments authorized by the American Rescue Plan in March 2021,
but to receive the treatment he needed from the United States. So again, our objective is to bring all Americans who are detained, who are held, who are away from their families home from overseas, but I'm not going to be able to preview for you what processes or approaches we're going to take for those moving forward.
But is there a concern that now it's not just detaining Americans, but wrongfully mistreating them allows them, allowing them to get seriously ill and gives another country leverage over the United States in terms of creating another opportunity such as this for this sort of prisoners?
Well, again, unfortunately, Zeke, there are Americans who are held in other places around the world who we are still working to bring home. And that has been the case long before the president and importantly, our hostage negotiator took the steps to bring Trevor Reed home. This has been going on for a long time, I guess is my larger point. And our effort and our objective was to take steps that we needed to take to bring him home, knowing his health conditions and know he's been held for too long.
A different topic, Russia yesterday and today effectively carrying out that cutting off natural gas to Poland and Bulgaria.
Yeah.
What's the White House response to that, and there are additional steps the U.S. government is taking to reassure its European allies that, maybe not so much now, but certainly when the weather turns later this year, that they will have the energy supplies they need?
Sure. Well, unfortunately, this is not. This is the
to the fact that someday that comes due. When I started presenting the idea of the federal fumbles, my whole concept was simple. where is it the federal government's dropping the ball? That we are not paying attention to the areas we need to be able to pay attention to on our spending. It is a well-known fact that we have trillions in debt. In fact, as a nation, we have now crossed $30 trillion in total debt. 30 trillion. But it's interesting that the conversation doesn't seem to be serious. We don't seem to be in a dialogue about how we're going to actually try to bring our debt down. We're still spending on other things and still saying, not we're limited in what we can do. We seem to be adding more to the mix. And it's not necessarily on essential things. It just seems to be on things. Federal Fumbles book that I released this week, put on our website, just details out several different items. One is, where are we in our debt and how did we get here? But also try to walk through some of our trust funds on this because I think it's important. Where are we on
program that ended in 2021? Rather than extending the monthly child tax credit payments for another year, this bill would provide a monthly child allowance for families to qualify instead. Overall, everybody, this seems like a great idea that President Biden should definitely do. And if you guys think that President Biden must do a better job in sending out stimulus payments, tell me in the comments. Now everybody, this program would also be expanded to be made available to a wider range of income brackets. Single filers would be eligible to qualify with incomes of up to $200,000 per year, and joint filers qualify with incomes up to $400,000 per year. That differs significantly from the enhanced child tax credit payments, which had much lower income caps. However, the maximum allowance under Romney's proposal would be $1,250 per month, everybody, and per family, which means that larger families will now receive payments for every child in the household. And this proposal includes a few other big changes. Now, there are also some states that enacted tax breaks in 2021, including the Earned Income Tax Credit, which is good news for low to moderate earners. According to Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, workers may receive the federal Earned Income Tax Credit based on earnings, spacing out above certain income levels. And the state-level tax breaks are typically a percentage of the federal credit, following the same eligibility rules. That's all the breaking news for this video. If you have any questions on this, then feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my very best in answering them.
Lines of credit. Systemic bias in home valuations widens the racial gap, widens the racial wealth gap, and deepens the long-standing financial inequities that divide our communities. And we've heard the stories of people who have tried everything to avoid an unfair appraisal. Stories like that of Tanisha and her family. And these stories are shocking. And they are evidence that systemic change